Good afternoon, my goodness. It's nice to come into Loma's own cooling center. I don't know what it is out there, but it's hot. I want to explain a little bit of what you're going to see this afternoon before we begin. Can we turn down the gain on this? Loma Linda has had its own small filming team called Advancement Films for a number of years, probably 15 plus years now, as I recall. And about 10 years ago, we decided to look at something that is a bit unusual, and that is whether we could get films produced here that would be shown on national, actually what's called PBS, Public Broadcasting Service. Now that's a public television service that does not have advertisements. And so you have to sponsor your own programs, but the trick is you can't put your own money into it because it looks like an advertisement. So we have to raise donations every year to fund the films we produce. We can't identify Loma Linda in them directly. We only can do it indirectly. So you may see in films a picture of the medical center's name or something showing up, but it cannot be promoting yourself. So that's part of the criteria of PBS, Public Broadcasting Service, is it's neutral, it isn't advertising a thing, any particular organization, and yet we feel there's stories to tell. And probably one of the most difficult decisions I get pulled into around here every year is what stories do we tell? Because there's so many stories here to share, everything from research initiatives, international projects, local projects, various things that are remarkable people that are eligible to be featured. So out of that, every year we select 5, 6, 7 stories that our film team goes after, interviews, travels, and tells that story. Making a documentary is not easy. The trick is storytelling. How do you tell a story in a compelling, accurate way and still make it attractive to people that are listening today? And that's what our film team does so well. At the end, you'll have a chance to meet all of them because they do an incredible job, work out of the basement of McGann Hall over here, a small team, but puts these films together. So this afternoon, we're going to see 2 of these. The first one is entitled Keep Moving Forward, featuring some patients of Dr. Chi Viet. We'll talk a little bit more about here in the question and answer afterwards. And enjoy the miracles, the activities that come out of this place. So that's our plan. Let's pray together as we begin. Gracious Father, thank you for bringing us together this afternoon. Thank you for the impact that Loma Linda has been able to have around the world. Today, Father, we're going to celebrate some of those stories, some of the incredible activities that people engage from here that we relate to have the impact they have made. Thank you for bringing us here. Thank you for a cool place to meet. Now guide this meeting, we pray. Amen. Enjoy. Keep moving forward.
My name is Carlos Rivas, and this is my story. I'm picking my son up from football practice, and I get hit by someone that ran a red light. Smashes my car. Luckily, all my kids, were good. So that kind of forced me to go see my primary doctor. He's like, hey, man, you're good. And towards the end, he casually asked me, what else is going on with you, Carlos? You have any questions for me? I said, you know what? My gum in my mouth has been irritating me. And as he took his hands up to my chin, he felt a small lump. From what they seen, there was just like, it's in the mouth, it's in that area. But after the scans came, they seen the cancer in the jaw and under my chin and the lymph nodes. And I remember the drive home. I was like, dang, this is real, right? It's going down, it's cancer. Had my moment of tears, moment of feeling hurt, moment of pain, and then and let the wind blow and say, you know what? I'm gonna boss up and let's go fight this thing.
Approximately 50,000 Americans are diagnosed with oral cancer every year. While it more commonly affects older patients, there is a recent trend of cases in young people.
Thank you, Lord, Father God, for a great day you have blessed us with. Thank you, Lord, for keeping us out of harm's way. Thank you, Lord, for guiding us, protecting us. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Short and sweet. Amen.
All right, Ella's prayer. Ella's prayer. Let's go,
Okay,
Ella.
go, Ella.
Go, Ella.
Go.
Hooray! All right. So I have 6 great kids from ages 15. PJ, we call him. My daughter Samara, she's 14, going on 17, and Jeremiah, he's 10 years old, and baby Ella, she's 4. Michael, man, he's turning 3 in December, and then my youngest, which is 1 and a half. And then I'm married to my amazing wife, high school sweethearts, known her since I was 15 years old. She's definitely my, what they call, ride or die. There's a lot going on in our household. It's never a dull moment.
Football will make you or it'll break you. The choice is yours.
1, 2, 3, work!
It's stage 4.
Right.
It's in the jaw.
Right.
So
Get off!
removing this out, placing it, taking out the lip notes, or taking the.
Ready, go!
No clap! No clap!
1 or 4. What would be the
Yeah, 4.
quarterback?
It's 4. Yeah, that's why they doing the surgery.
Okay.
That's why they have to do the surgery.
Is it rare?
Yeah.
Is it a rare cancer?
Yeah, 'cause it's in the bones. Lost a tooth. Tooth came out.
Trap rolling, go!
Tooth Fairy came see you.
I know. I hope I get 500.
500,000, right?
This has been hurting. It's really painful. Even if you just touch it, even if I just bend my head down, it bleeds really fast. Pus is coming out. I definitely feel just weak. My mind is saying, you good. My body's saying, go sit down. You out of breath.
The irony of it is that he's not a smoker, not a drinker. He does not have any traditional risk factors. We hope that a patient like him will do well because he has so much to live for.
Do those thoughts come to my mind? Worst case scenario? Yeah. I mean, I'm human. It comes in there, but it doesn't consume me too much. Dr. Viet, she was saying that the cancer has grown more since our last visit, which was only about 2 weeks ago. The cut that she was going to do only went like this far, and because it spread, she's going to have to cut more of it.
When you think about a patient with a jaw cancer, the standard of care is cut out that cancer or replace it. Then they go through radiation, possibly chemotherapy, and finally we talk about getting teeth back into that jaw. I had suggested John a day for Carlos because we are taking a process that takes up to 2 years and compressed it into 1 day.
Dun, 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 dun.
What's after that?
Oh, you gotta repeat it. That's how it goes.
Okay,
Oops, there goes another rubber tree.
Oops, there goes another rubber tree.
See, sound good. Just the chin be hurting.
Yeah, I'm sleeping. He's feeling a little anxious.
Oh, of course, I would be too. I totally get you.
I will update you
Okay.
in a couple hours,
Okay,
probably by late afternoon,
okay.
and then we'll go.
Sounds good.
And you'll be asleep. This would not otherwise be possible without virtual surgical planning and 3D printing. Because if you notice, even if you have a grain of sand between your teeth, you're gonna know. So that's how accurate you have to be.
Only a few hospitals in the world perform the jaw-in-a-day surgery because it requires the overlapping expertise of multiple doctors. Dr. Viet begins by removing the cancer and lymph nodes in the neck, saving sections for later analysis.
We've gotten to a point with these technological advancements where we can perform very complex and sophisticated surgeries. But what we need to remember is that more than half of these patients don't even make it to 5 years. We're dealing with one of the smartest cancers out there. And that's where research comes in that helps us better understand the complexity of this cancer, in addition to doing surgery.
Meanwhile, her colleague prepares a bone transplant from the leg.
The cancer has already destroyed part of your jaw, and when that gets taken out, there's no more bone there. And you can't just put a piece of metal in there. It has to be something living that your body will tolerate. But you can't just take the bone on its own. It has to come with its own blood supply.
Using an exact 3D replica of Carlos's jaw, dental implants and teeth are anchored to the bone while it's still in the leg. The demanding surgery lasts all day.
Once we take it out and do the transplant, all the cuts are done, then we can screw it into place and it holds into your jaw. The implants are in there ready to go, and we just have to hook the blood vessels up to kind of bring it back to life. And the arteries and the veins are very small. They're just a few millimeters in size, and we do it underneath a microscope with sutures that are like thinner than a human hair.
Because we're adding on so many layers of complexity, it makes for a much more difficult surgery with many more complications.
There's not a good sense of relief until maybe at the very end, and even then you're a little bit nervous that things might not go right.
I won't forget, but I wish I could forget how he looked and how he was trying to communicate with us, and he couldn't talk, and just how swollen he was. You want to write something? You want to write? Love you too, baby. Oh. And he wrote to me, "I love you." It's all like chicken scratch, but his handwriting is not that good either way. Baby, we gotta go, okay? Love you, baby. Get some rest. He said when he does a suction through his mouth, it feels like he's choking, so his eyes get watery. He's been moving around a lot and having me readjust his leg all through the night. We've got through it. I'd rather do that than something else. Yeah, he's been giving me high fives too.
I remember the first time I seen my face, I had to cover up because it was just so heartbreaking. You know, I was like, I can't believe I look like this. And I was just like so scared. And I started realizing the trach was in there and the feeding tube was in my nose. And then I looked at my leg and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is a lot.
Say good morning. In a couple days.
And the first word that I said was shy. And it might not have sounded like how it sounds now, but it was an attempt. And she still uplifts me and tells me I look good and gives me a kiss even though I can't put my lips like together properly. It's like she keeps it going. Like she ain't stopping. I don't know how she do it. And I never knew how she did it.
Carlos and we met in high school.
Gardena, Compton, LA area. I seen her around the school and was always so attracted to her. You know, as a 15-year-old kid, you know, you just looking at her beauty and her booty. We had a conversation when I called, you know, old school. You know, we had to use an actual landline phone, and she understood me, like, from jump. When I met her, I was without my parents. Both my mom and my dad were both incarcerated. We're living with our grandmother, and then we're living with our aunt. We only had probably like one pair of shoes. I can remember washing my t-shirt, in the sink and putting it like on a, house fan.
Since I've known him, he's been a hustler, go-getter. He would go to the taco truck early in the morning, place an order before, and pick up like 20 burritos and would sell them for more, to get a profit at school. And he would have mine separate in a separate bag with my extra hot sauce.
I was rough around the edges, involved in a gang activity, and Shai caught me at a moment in life where I knew I didn't want to be. in them activities.
But yeah, it was just little things like that, bringing him food, inviting him over. He would just fit right in, and my mom would be like, oh yeah, that's my son-in-law, that's my son-in-law at 15. And he would perform for us. He would be a dancer or telling jokes. He was always an entertainer. 21 years, 6 kids later, and here we are.
I'd like you to get up and walk more if possible.
You ready for the fight? The fight.
For over a week, Carlos recovers in the hospital. He takes his first steps since bone was taken from his leg. He prepares to go home and awaits pathology results of cancer taken out during surgery.
Very good.
We getting discharged. We're going home.
Carlos is a highly intelligent person. He understands the nature of his situation, and it does get to him. But he has this immeasurable strength. Perhaps he gets it from his faith, perhaps he gets it from his family, his children, his whole entire extended family who are all rooting for him. He truly is able to enjoy the present moment without having to worry about what comes next. And I think that is so powerful.
You do have some very concerning features in pathology. The first is that you do have cancer in your neck. 3 of the lymph nodes have cancer.
Okay.
The second is cancer is an aggressive form where it likes to invade into the nerves and it likes to go into the lymph channels.
Okay.
So the cancer has not spread to the lungs as far as we know. And like I said, when we first met, if it's contained up here in the jaw and the neck, it's a curable cancer.
Okay.
Once it spreads to the lungs, it's no longer curable cancer. It's a treatable cancer. We have several different types of therapies available. I do think that you still need radiation.
Okay.
I think that you will probably also need chemotherapy.
Okay.
That in itself is not a walk in the park.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Push it, Eddie, push it.
You know, I was anticipating, I wanted surgery to come and go, but I knew after that it was still going to be a journey.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I'm doing good with the soft food. So the wife has been blending, chicken and, Thanksgiving was great. She blended the ham and the turkey. I'm happy I'm walking, I threw that walker away.
Oh my, I am so amazed. He was moving his jaw and talking and walking.
On my lips.
How are you guys? Hi, Mr. Rivas. How are you?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. I saw the notes from medical oncology and radiation. Looks like you're getting set to get you started with that. Yeah. Off with gloves on. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
But I can move it fine.
So I have you just rest your leg down.
Constantly.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Did anyone talk to you about your scan that you had done yesterday? For the planning for the radiation scan? Okay, so everything looks good up here. So there's, the bone and all the transplant and reconstruction, everything looks like it's healing up just fine. Okay. They did see some new nodules in your lung on the CT scan.
What are lung nodules?
So they're growths of something in the lung, and they weren't there before. So anytime someone's had cancer, it always makes it suspicious that could be cancer.
I'm just concerned because you're the first person to tell us about the lung nodules and no one else.
Seen yesterday.
Just seen yesterday.
But I understand your concern about these new lung nodules, like, what are we going to do? How do we,
Right, because we were told
keep an
that
eye on
they
them?
were not going to, we didn't want them to get into his lungs.
Right, and there was nothing in there in the November scan that you had. I'll send this message to your team about what we talked about and everything else.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You're gonna be okay. This thing is metastasizing. It's growing constantly, and we don't have months and months to wait.
I can't go. If I'm not healed, I can't do chemotherapy and radiation. If I'm not healed enough, I'm not gonna be strong enough. They gotta make sure I'm healed, that I'm strong enough to survive radiation and chemo. Imagine if I did radiation and chemo 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna be able to survive. I gotta just be patient. There's no God working it out. I felt the same way when they said, "Oh, the cancer spread. You gotta push the surgery back." I thought they would push the surgery up.
Yeah.
But it's too much behind the scenes they gotta do that I don't know. I don't know, Mama. I didn't go to school for 12 years. We're gonna do what we do.
We're gonna do what we gotta do.
Well, another doctor's meeting.
Another doctor.
Some more news. Suspectedly, but we're gonna keep fighting. It don't change the plan. It don't change the plan. So it don't change my attitude. Don't change how I'm gonna attack it. And that's it. So watch your step.
He said he tried to eat like beans and rice, but everything came up. So right now that he told Samara, like, oh, I want waffles and ice cream, I'm like, give it to him, like, whatever he wants. I want him to eat. Let Ella help.
Well, I don't want to say I understand death, but I understand that it's a time we're going to have to go. So it wouldn't be like I'm scared to die. I'll just be scared if I die and my family is not right. I don't want them to suffer or struggle.
Sometimes we are perplexed. We don't always know what to do, and we don't always have the right answer. But we have this treasure on the inside that lets us know that I am never.
And then I get sentimental, just about, like my babies. Like missing out, like a high school graduation, a football game. Little milestones. One part of me is like, damn, been on this for 9 months. It's like, I can't taste nothing. I'm throwing up stuff. It's painful, it hurts. It's not a day that don't hurt.
About a week ago, we found this lesion, and it's the size of a softball. He tells me that he doesn't want to be a burden, but he'll never be a burden to me.
One side gets so angry because I just don't understand. I'm just trying to understand. And the other side is like, all right, God, well, if this is what it takes, then I'm up for it. I really can't fall into that dark hole and be depressed because I still got air in my lungs. I still got a roof over my head. Statistically, growing up where I grew up, man, I'm not able to even be here. So I'm still here. I'm still fighting.
Carlos has widely metastatic disease. What that means is his cancer has spread to multiple areas in his body, and it's highly devastating. I share bad news with my patients weekly. After having done this for many years, it doesn't get any easier.
I met with Dr. B at Thursday, and we sat down. She screwed up close to me, and she said, "Carlos, I hate to be the one to tell you, but you won't survive this cancer." And then she told me, to make sure I connect with, hospice and, Yeah, so I made a decision to tell my kids. And the first one I had is with my oldest son, PJ. And it's tough to see him cry. Because I never see him cry. Because he's tough. He's a football player. He's a wrestler. He doesn't cry. And he covered his face when he cried. And he gave me a hug. And he grabbed my hand and he said, keep fighting. And then same thing with my daughter, you know, when she hugged me. And I kissed her, you know, I told her I love her. And she kissed me, and I told my youngest son, and, you know, he just sat there and just looked at me. He didn't react, you know. I said, you have any questions? He said, no. And he just said he loved me. But I keep my faith in God, and I understand he has a purpose, that he has a plan. We keep fighting, and we keep going, and we enjoy today. Gonna laugh and joke, focus on right now, what you can do right now. To my wife, my baby, my everything. Every moment with you is just special. We have fun doing anything. Through our ups, through our downs, through our trials and tribulations. You stuck your ground. You stand tall. I can't thank God enough how blessed I am to have you. I love you. DJ, Sammy Girl. Jay Smooth, Ella Grace, Michael Mann, Sean. Daddy just love you so much, and when you were born, it ignited something in me. I have enjoyed so much with you. You bring the laughter to the table. You are the heart and the love. I want you to really understand that. You built and made for greatness. Keep it pushing. Don't let nothing stop you. Yeah, my condition, don't let it slow you down. You go. You got a life to live. Go get it.
Tough stories. But that's the reality of living in a place like this, where we take on cases that we don't know what's going to happen, where it's going to come out. Appreciate very much, Shai, for you being with us here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me talk a little bit about Dr. Viet first. Dr. Shi could not be with us. She's back at NIH right now in the study section. Amazing surgeon. came to this country at 5 years of age from Vietnam with her parents. If you caught the title at the beginning, she has 3 earned doctorates, DDS in dental, MD, and PhD. The only one I remember around here that had 3 earned doctorates before was Dr. Mervyn Harding, founder of the School of Public Health, had an MD, PhD, and DRPH, which happens to be Kevin Eckball's maternal grandfather. Kevin's mother is Jeannie Harding, for those of you who keep track of these things. So let's talk about this. This is a tough story to hear. And anytime this sort of thing happens, your hopes go up and down and up and down. How are you doing?
Hanging in there.
It's tough. And the kids, they're trying to move on with life?
We're doing our best. Yeah.
Kevin, you were involved with shooting this, and incredible story and footage. Thank you. And actually, thank you to the family for allowing this to be caught on camera during stuff like this. But you put it together and caught the story. I suspect when it started, we all hoped for something different. But it doesn't always turn out that way, and we told the entire story. Tell us a little bit about putting the story together, Kevin.
Yeah, so we were looking at possible stories to follow possible cancer patients, and we had Carlos interviewed, kind of trying to figure out what his story was. And the first time I met him was in an interview, and we had a whole contraption set up, and he had to look right into the camera. And I would normally be a little worried; people would be a little nervous, first time. But Carlos was completely unfazed by it all. He just, it was no big deal to him. And I've told people this many times. In that moment, in that interview, there was just like something inside of me that just was stirred. And some of it is the instinct of kind of knowing who would be a good character in a film, and then I feel like there was also another component of just like, almost like a spiritual connection that you have with somebody, and I was like, I know this is the guy, we have to tell his story. And Carlos told me that he had been praying about like whether he should share his story on social media, and kind of uncertain, as things, he'd gotten some news, and he said the next day after he'd been praying about it, Dr. Viet had called him and said, hey, there's this documentary that will go out on PBS, would you be interested in being part of it? And I think both of us kind of went into it, and Shai too, as kind of thinking, I think for whatever reason, I don't know the reason, but I think we should, pursue this journey.
And telling that story, Shai, as you can imagine, is a help to all of us. It gives courage, it gives conviction, gives understanding to all those who witness that through the years and this particular story. Are any of your children here with you?
All of them are.
Could we have them stand? What's it been like going through that with, I'm sure, having all the kids sharing both the pain, but also the resilience of Carlos, of moving on, of saying, okay, life will continue?
So with the older kids, the older 3, they have definitely shown the resilience of Carlos, his strength, and what we always instilled in them to keep moving forward, no matter what the situation is. Carlos always told the kids, don't stop living your life because of what I'm going through. And they haven't stopped. They continue to get good grades. They continue to do well in sports. They're great kids all around. With the younger kids, I do see more worryiness, anxiety, sadness, because they don't understand. They're only 6, 4, and 3. Our youngest turned 3 a month after Carlos passed. But I know in time, you know, we talk about Carlos every day. So in time, they'll develop those strengths that he instilled in him.
I suppose it's tough for the little ones to fully understand what all is going on.
Yes, they understand that he is gone. They question all the time, you know, where is he at? And so it is very hard.
I mean, I sense you've got a remarkable bonding as a family.
Oh, yes.
I mean, supporting each other, caring for each other.
Absolutely.
That's got to be really reassuring among the kids to help you in that process.
Absolutely. My older kids, so I always say I have a first half and a second half because there's 6 of them. There's 17, 15, and 12. And then the younger ones are 6, 4, and 3. So the older ones always help me out with the younger ones. And they've stepped up quite a bit more since Carlos has passed, helping me out.
They're all doing well in school?
All doing well in school, yes.
Playing football?
They play football. Cheerleading is continuing. We started T-ball, but we didn't finish the season because Carlos got very ill at the end. But yeah, they're student athletes for sure.
Kevin, it strikes me that most stories, you know the end when you start to take the film. You didn't know the end of this one. You had no idea how this was going to turn out and what was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. There's a Hitchcock quote where he says something about how in a Hollywood film, God is the director, or the director is God, and in documentary, God is the director. I remember sharing that actually with Shai and Carlos during this, and you know, I still look at the film and I still ask myself, you know, why, you know, and so many times, you know, I just prayed that it would be something different, you know, but I can't help but think that, you know, this story is more than a tragedy. I think it was Shai and Carlos that told me, they're like, this is a love story, you know, and that's what I think. I have felt deep sadness in editing this and going through it, but I have also, I would say, even stronger, there has been incredible love that I have sensed, you know, in Shai, you know, being there for Carlos through this, and the kids, and just Carlos's love for other people, like, you know, just seeing his interactions. You know, one little joke that always cracks me up a little bit is when he's had this devastating news and we're walking out and Daniel was operating camera, walking backwards, and here's Carlos, you know, he's just had this pretty devastating news given to him, and he's the one who notices that Daniel's about to trip and he's like, watch out, you see the camera, you know, and I don't know, to me that was Carlos, and I just kind of think like he's one of those people you run into life where you have to tell yourself, like, take note of this person. Like, take note of how they have overcome obstacles, the way that they face challenges, the love that they bring, the joy that they bring to life. And I don't know. I don't know, you know, the story's not over either, you know, in my mind is like, yeah, Carlos' life was cut short, but life for all of us is short in its own way too, and I can't help but think that, you know, at least one reason, you know, Carlos had something to share with the world.
Do I take it that the title, Keep Moving Forward, is Carlos' words?
So yeah, move forward. He established that. Oh my goodness, I can't remember now when. Early 2000s. And that was his motto, and it's very broad. Keep moving forward. It's not just if you're sick. It's keep moving forward if you're feeling down, you got some bad news with your job, or you didn't get the test grade that you hope to get. You keep moving forward. Yeah, and that was his motto.
I want to big a shout out to the kids. Thank you for sharing this story, for sharing your dad. And thank you, Shai, for being here and being brave enough to come. This has got to be tough.
It is very tough. I smile because I know that he's giving me strength to be here, because this was his forte, being a spotlight and center stage. That was him. That's why he was so comfortable with his first interview. He just had that confidence and the strength. And so I know he's here with me.
Has this been released yet on PBS?
Yeah, it's available on the PBS app and on their website, and they've also been broadcasting it in various regions too.
So people can go in and see it on PBS or on our app? You can go through Loma Linda and find it?
Yeah, there's a QR code actually on the little bulletin that was handed out, and so you can use that to get to it as well. And if anybody would like to feels moved to support the Rivas family, you'll also find a link there if you follow that QR code.
Well, thank you, Kevin and team, for making this, and thank you, Shai, for coming up and sharing your story with us. We really appreciate it. The next film is called Hood Auntie. Let's watch it.
It's not normal to go to jail every 3 months. It's not normal for your mom to come in and stab your dad. But this is what's going on in our communities.
Breaking news in San Bernardino, where there's been a deadly shooting.
Murders at a high crime rate plague the city of San Bernardino.
Other people come like, oh, you live in the ghetto, and I'm like, yep, gunshots at night. To me, this is normal.
Kids down the street, and a mom comes to me and says, I don't know what he's on, but he's not acting normal. I'm scared. I got some Narcan. Let's go.
The city of San Bernardino is ranked as the third most dangerous city in America.
I had a fiance and a husband that died on me. And then my first boyfriend got killed in gang violence.
Police say the gangs are responsible for more than 50 murders this year alone.
Violence intervention. That's who I am. That's what I live. My name is Tasha Nicole, and this is my story. Into normalized violence, second generation gang life. I'm biracial but tricultural. My mother is Italian. My father is African American. Parents were incarcerated when I was very young. After that, going to college, I got accepted at Cal State, but it didn't stand because I was actively gangbanging. And then I became a mother real soon. And I think my son saved my life because I didn't think I was going to live past 18. I mean, a lot of us don't think that. So you see the resemblance? These are Blaxicans right here, all right? It's a whole culture of us. So in the morning, the hair can look like this out of the shower, and we can brush it. But afterwards, it looks just like that, right? Before and after. All right, so I'm going to try to brush his hair. But Michael is 26 years old, but he's my 2-year-old, right? For life. A layman's term is the elephant man syndrome. He has some of his organs are backwards or they're deformed. He has gigantism in his feet, so he wears house shoes. That's the only thing that can fit his feet. And then on one side of his leg is gigantism as well. Then he has lymph nodes in his back, so he has like a hunchback. So when he walks, people think he just has that little swag, but that's actually his walk. But it works for Michael, right? Right, Michael? Throw it up, Michael. Yeah, that's Michael. I had to really focus on his medical needs, caring for him 24/7. And that changed me. I couldn't risk my freedom. I couldn't risk my life because what would happen to him? Michael needs me. If I hadn't had Michael, there's a high possibility I would have died in gang violence, or I would have caught a major case for a murder or something like that. So I would have lost my life either way. Come on, Mike. Okay, say bye-bye. You're leaving. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. I am a violence intervention professional at Loma, and I work in the trauma unit. And my job is to assist the patients who have been assaulted, shot, stabbed, to get the resources they need so that they won't end up victimized again and or in jail.
Breaking news, a gang raid has turned into a SWAT standoff in San Bernardino.
San Bernardino was once a thriving, middle-class, all-American city. Over the last 3 decades, the economy imploded. The rail shops, steel plants, Norton Air Force Base, and downtown businesses closed, costing the city tens of thousands of jobs, along with the hopes of its residents.
The city of San Bernardino is ranked as the 3rd most dangerous city in America. That's studied by the Financial Services.
So my phone rings all the time. You know, things go on at the hospital all the time. Things go up in this neighborhood all the time. I have to walk a line where I can't be biased in any situation. I have to see the whole picture. And we know that San Bernardino has a lot of killings and shootings, violence, you know. It's not normal to go to jail every 3 months. It's not normal for your dad to come in or your mom to come in and stab your dad. But this is what's going on in our communities.
As a violence intervention professional, Tasha has routine home visits, many of which are with former prison inmates.
So today I'm gonna meet with Richard. He's a recently released parolee. So we can get started on seeing what his goals are and how I can assist in supporting him in accomplishing those goals. So we're both from the gang life. We have our history, right? And then we're here to mentor, peer mentor, stand by you, support you. We also do in juvenile detention and also visit other inmates.
My name's Richard. That's something I'm getting used to again, hearing my name, because I wasn't being called by my name, I was being called by my nickname. And I was hearing my nickname since juvenile hall, since before I even went to juvenile hall. I went to Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School, man, and that middle school was cracking. You see kids try to stab each other with pencils. I was just like, damn, man. Everyone's fighting each other. You're getting shot at by security with paintball guns with pepper spray in them. And then we go to 8th grade. Now the gangs are trying to pull you. I got drunk one time with these girls, and one of them was like, "You're not a gangster, man. Like, you look like a pretty boy. Like, you're not with it." And I was like, "Man," I was like, "Watch." I told my homie, "Hey, fool, put the 1 and the 3 dots on my face." I got it on my face. I regretted it like the next day. I was like, damn, what did I do? I was a gang member.
He had the 13 on his face, and it's the 1-3. So 13 in our gang culture means that you're from a Hispanic gang. It's identifiable even with the officers and the cops and parole and probation and everything else. You're labeled. That's it. So you become a target.
We had just had a little party. We're driving around, I don't even know what. To me, I was like, oh, I'm just a homie, you know, I'm kicking it with the homies. And then we seen some people tagging out our neighborhood. And I was like, oh, cool, we're gonna beat them up real quick. And next thing you know, somebody pulls out a gun and shoots with them. And I was like, it was like a movie, it was like slow motion. I just seen everybody run, and I ran. And I didn't understand, like, gang members do a lot of bad things. Breaking in people's cars, stealing people's bikes. And then that shooting, that murder of that guy, you know? And I don't even know how to make amends to that. That's like, damn. 2 weeks later, I got the sheriffs, the PDs, Smash coming to my house. I got locked up. I spent more time in jail than I did living on the streets.
As an accessory to the crime, Richard, at 15 years old, was sentenced to 17 years in prison.
Honest with you, getting these tattoos removed is like, it's the best thing to happen to me my whole life.
With Richard planning to remove his gang tattoos, especially the ones on his face, is very important because he's re-entering the community where people will remember those tattoos and remember the feelings that they had or the encounters they had with him before he went to prison. So to start a new life, you have to change some things, right? It's not removing who he is as a person, but it's progressing so he can go ahead and further his career and accomplish his goals.
And I got 3 more units, I'll get my associates.
Look at you.
I hope that I can get my 3 units, then I want to get my bachelor's.
So we want to change that. I hope. I'm gonna get my 3 units so I can get my bachelor's. How about that?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to see you and meet you personally.
Hey, it's a blessing, brother.
Face tattoos, they were around, but it wasn't socially acceptable as it is now. I've been wanting to get this off for about 19 years, so I'm tired of that. It's just problems. But once you get locked up, then it's really treacherous. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. That's how everyone knows me, like, oh, it's the guy with the 1-3 on his face. Every kid in there was like, you couldn't show weakness. You couldn't say, oh, damn, I'm scared. Not knowing this is the rest of your life. It really hit me hard when my dad died. That was a really bad experience for me because I couldn't go to his funeral. I knew he was old, but he was strong. And it wasn't even like 2 years. When they told me he was dying, I didn't believe it. I was like, damn. I messed up my life. Even though people say they don't discriminate, they might not do it openly, but when you apply for a job or try to get a better job, they're gonna be like, oh, you know? They don't know me, they just know what they see. And what they see is not always what it is.
You need to take a break, you say so. The knuckles are some of the hardest ones. Yeah, you're shaking here. Or no, it's a little rough, I'm sorry.
Slowly breath.
Yeah, no problem.
It wasn't that bad. It hurt, but it's doable. You know, it's something I needed to get done, so I was like, all right, let's get it done. I feel good. I feel like, damn, I started the process. A lot of people, they might be afraid to take that first step, that change. I'm ready for change. I'm ready to just start moving forward, start building on my future.
Alrighty. I think I got everything I need. Sun's actually not that bad right now, but UV rays and the heat. I don't want to be sweaty before I get to the office, right?
As a violence intervention professional, Tasha has regular meetings with hospital medical staff and social workers to brief each other on current and incoming patients.
All right, why don't we do you want to run through and we can just do our list, run through that and kind of identify safety needs and communicating with the team?
So I do work at the trauma unit at Loma Hospital, but I also advocate for parolees and probationers, high-risk youth. I advocate for special needs. I go to court and I support my patients when they go to court and also to educate them on some other resources that they may need. But I'm a violence intervention professional because it all goes hand in hand. So this is this case that we went up to Victorville, went to court for him. The agreement that was made in court was that he was going to be held until we picked him up. He was released overnight. So where do you think he ended back up? Back up in Barstow.
Just on the street?
On the street in 100 and something degree heat. But this is the system that we're dealing with.
Why didn't they contact you when he was released?
They released him after midnight.
But that's dumb.
It is dumb, but that's what happens, and that's why it's recidivism.
But the bad thing about it is, and the worst thing, they said you got 30 minutes
to get off this property.
Or we're gonna rearrest you.
Exactly.
And I've seen it.
Are you serious?
Yes. Well, you know what? You're not innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until proven innocent in our realm. Yes.
I think that passion drives Tasha to always look for more, right? So instead of accepting that something isn't possible or a resource isn't available or a service isn't going to be available for a patient or family, she just won't take no, right? It's like, we're going to find a way. And then she just makes it happen because she knows how important it is for these patients and families, because that is the difference between sleeping in the car that night and going without food or having a roof over their head and being able to send their child to school the next day.
When I study, my mindset is I have a goal to continue getting my tattoos removed, to finish getting my degree, to get my bachelor's, to get my master's degree, and just to give back to the community. I got a second chance at life, so I want to be that light where others could be like, that guy did it, then I know I could do it. And I don't tell anybody it's easy, it's work. A lot of people that got out before me, a lot of people that got out after me that I thought were doing good ended up going back to prison. It's hard to get out of that lifestyle when it's all around you. And you feel that camaraderie and you remember these guys, but they're still doing the same things. So you feel sucked in and trapped. If someone told me that I wasn't gonna graduate, I'd feel like I failed the people that believed in me, the ones that pushed me to go to school, the ones that were like, you can do it. And I think I'd fail myself for all the work I put in. There's nothing that is gonna stop me. I know my path is difficult, but whatever I need to do, I'll do it. And if I have to work all day, every day, I will. Identify and describe the 4 goals of social work practice. Oh man, I'm just dealing with like 5 things at once. There was no work for like the whole week, only went for 2 days, so I was like, all right. You know, just trying to figure out what's gonna be my next move, because everyone's trying to pull me here and pull me there, and it's like, I feel overwhelmed because I didn't get that time to be like, okay, I'm gonna be a teenager, then I'm gonna be an adult, then I'm gonna be like a real adult. I didn't get the 18s. I didn't get into my teens. I didn't get into my 20s. And I'm trying to see if I can get into a stable job. I'm not trying to go 2 days out the week. I don't get no rest at home because when I get home, I gotta help all my family, and it's not just all sunshine. Sometimes it's bad days, and I feel like I've been having like a bad week. And out here, I'm just like, damn, what do I do? I never had to do any of this. It's difficult.
Wait, what?
I just have to find things. So I'm trying to rush over here.
What's going on?
I'm trying to my system, fix it myself.
How and what and why? Do you need to sit down?
No, I just gotta get through.
No, you don't. You need to sit down. Just sit.
You wanna share like a brief synopsis of what happened?
So my assistant, it was her husband, but I call her like my prima and he's my primo. But it's like cousins, right? My primo was killed on Easter and his body wasn't removed until the morning. And then straight from that, I went to work. It just broke down because to be just shot and killed, like nothing, and just lay on the ground. It brings back when my husband was killed. The night that my husband was killed, he suffered multiple gunshots and he passed away right there. Yeah. They weren't even looking for him. He was just an innocent victim, and he had become this great husband and father, and everybody loved him, you know? So we were 7 months legally married, and we thought we were at the age where we were done with that, and we were veteranos, right? And we had made it through. And we had it. The reality is, once you're in a gang, you're always in that gang because no one forgets the past, right? Usually they don't, especially if you've hurt other people. You become a target all the way around. You remain a target all the way around. Yeah. So a lot of the incidents or experiences that we are working with that the patients are currently going through, it's a lot of things that we've endured. This job is very difficult. It's not for everyone, but it makes a huge impact on the people we service.
Recidivism rates in California are around 68% for arrests of new crimes. This means that more than 2/3 of former inmates that Tasha assists end up back in prison.
Because I didn't have like that wholesome family lifestyle, you know, father was in prison, mom was gone. You wanted to belong to something. But to have like sisters from different mothers, right? Brothers from different mothers, and know that they loved you and you loved them, you felt like unconditional love. And that's what gangbanging in our days was about. But the violence was the downfall. The violence was the horrible part. That's why I do what I do with these youth, because you want to feel a part of something. They know me as Miss G or the big homegirl or my mentor. I wouldn't want to mess up that rapport. So we're having a birthday party for Michael, and he's turning 26. However, my sister's birthday is on the exact same date. So because this is the community house, whatever celebrations we do is for the community. So we're all pulling together and just making it a celebration for everybody.
I gotta give all thanks to Tasha, because when she invests her time and her money and her property to this, that's the most caring thing in the world. That's why everybody will know her name forever.
I call her Tia. Yeah. She's the one who kept me out of trouble. She actually brought me into her house, and I started getting my right, and that's when I started going back, and that's when I started going to school.
She's that one person that you can always count on.
She's really caring. She'll do almost anything for anybody.
I met Tasha through a ONH program. It's just a program for the homeless. I was just out in the streets doing what I do. And she was real cool. She had like a good vibe to her. More chill, laid back, more like herself. And she kind of understands, so like we're able to like open up more, and you know, she's really been there for me, and she's been here for all the other kids, and it's like, she really is family. I never really had nobody like that.
Cha-cha-cha. Cha-cha. Wait, why are we off? And Diane. And Sunshine. And my sister's birthday too. She's 47. And then right on time. Right on time. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, growing up in the hood, I mean, this is like tradition. I grew up knowing that I had hood aunties, hood grandmas, hood tias. Because I didn't have my own mom, I had hood moms. So when someone asked me, why do you do this? I would say, why wouldn't I? Because I can. I'm capable of doing it, and it's a need. And then my passion is in my purpose. Why would my mom leave? Well, why did I go through this physical abuse or other abuses that I've endured? Why did I do that? And now today I say, now I know why. Because if I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't be able to not only sympathize, but empathize with someone else going through it. I wouldn't be able to say, you can get through this. So I take pride in being the hood auntie. You know, one day I'll be the hood grandma, eh? But right now, I'm still a hood auntie. I think everybody needs those people.
I was on 2 flights. So I'm going to Lake Tahoe to graduate. 7 months ago, I was right here, High Desert State Prison. And now I'm right here graduating.
There he is. Awesome.
How you doing, man?
How you doing? How was the travel, man?
It's good, man.
You pumped to be here?
Yeah,
I'm
real
pumped to
proud.
have you. Come
Yeah.
check this out. Come on. Get in here. Are you hungry? Let's go.
Richard's a very motivated individual. He joined us, I think, in 2001, and he really was working so hard while at HDSP, High Desert State Prison, to work on his degree, and he just really wanted it. I mean, he's graduating with 2 degrees, an AA in social sciences, an AAT in sociology, with a 3.54 GPA. I mean, that's a big deal.
I got to get adjusted to life. The people were different. Technology was way advanced. The billboards move now. We were just talking about almond milk, and I was like, almond milk? When did they come out with almond milk? My main goal is just to help others so they could experience what I'm experiencing. To show them like, hey, this is possible.
It's very important for other high-risk youth and adults to see Richard graduate, just to see someone who's been away for 17 years plus, coming from the same communities or the same lifestyle, and see him walk across that stage means it's possible. I truly look up to Richard. He's accomplished so much.
The most important thing I tell the community is, I'd say not to give up on people. There's a lot of people that make one or two mistakes and that's their whole life. If you give a person a second chance and they do change, they can help change the next person.
Richard Salazar.
It's like surreal, dude. It's like I'm watching it, I'm like, nah, this can't be me, this ain't my life. I didn't think I was gonna make it to 18. I didn't think I was gonna leave High Desert. If my dad was here, man, I think I would've cried because he would've seen me, I was like, I made it. I wanna be a 10th of a man that he was. But this is just the beginning. Just the beginning right here.
It's over. There you go, man. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you.
Since I've been doing this job, I've lost 3 people to murders that I've worked with closely. So to see Richard accomplish this, it means a lot. Because sometimes you feel like you could have did more. So to see him accomplish it makes me feel like I'm doing something right.
We need more people like Tasha. She influenced me. I was like, dang, I want to do what you're doing. If I could be changed, who's to say the next person can't?
Violence intervention. That's who I am. That's what I live. This will be my purpose till the day I die.
While our interviewees are coming up, you are in a church, so it's appropriate we take up an offering. So we're inviting you to donate this evening. I think we have some ushers coming forward. We'll go to Violence Prevention Program and Dr. Cheviet's research program, your support this evening. So please go ahead with the offering. My goodness. Hood Auntie.
First, I just want to extend my condolences to the Rivas family. Yeah, sorry.
I don't know where to begin.
Well, Richard's right over there. So.
I know Richard's over there. I want to call him in a second. But tell us a little bit how you got into this, Tasha.
I think it's been my purpose and my passion, right? Growing up, the way I did, second generation, gang member, mom and dad, drugs, whole 9 yards, incarcerated. You know, my mom just got released a few months ago for a different charge in her elderly 60s, and my father's still incarcerated. So growing up in our lifestyle, there wasn't many options for us, right? And it's generational at times, right? They talk about generational curses often, and that's what it is. And I wanted to be the curse breaker. My sons, thankfully, I was a prison daughter, you know, prison sister, prison wife at one time, did all that, but I'm not a prison mom, and I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
And now you work for?
I recently resigned from Loma. I appreciate the journey that I had with Dr. Belliard and Dr. Burris, actually, because I met her a few years ago. And And now I'm still doing my work, but now I have more time invested into the community. And what actually funds it is my event planning on the side to help that. But yeah, a lot of my community members were saying, we need you a lot more. And they saw that I was working a lot. So I'm still involved. I'm doing outside consulting now, actually, for different organizations. I'm still advocating in the schools. I'm advocating with parolees, probationers, and we're trying to stop the cycle, right? With little ones that we do. I do have some family, I call them family, because we believe our community is not just friends, right? We become families. So have some here to support me today, and I appreciate that. And yeah. We have one who was, if I made sure, he was a patient here actually, and yeah, he's my nephew, my hood nephew for life, right? So yeah, so I just want to, as far as Richard though, meeting Richard through this is like, and getting to know him, his family, and his progress, his story is like motivating the other youth that we work with, right? Yeah. And now we're starting our new chapter together, right? So we can continue doing our work, yeah.
Richard, I'm going to have you stand up and come up here where we can see you. Sure. We're going to find you a chair, man. So I remember when Dr. Burris started the tattoo removal program, probably, what, 10 years ago? How long ago was it?
Well, here at Loma Linda, it's new here, but I know she had been working on it 2 years, right? And she's been working on, she had been working like 4 years ago, we started, I met her, and we were assisting whatever way I could personally, along with Charles, another CHW. Yeah, well, we were trying to get the program here, because we were coming all the time as outside consultants, outside teams, and dealing with the patients. Yeah. So yeah, but Dr. Burris, she's an angel. She really saw
an unusual surgeon that got into this and recognized the violence prevention. She's got several grants actually to support this whole initiative. JC, how did you get involved with this thing?
It was actually through, well, we coordinate the community health workers, but with Dr. Burris, I think. Yeah, kudos to Dr. Burris for going beyond just being a surgeon and looking at how to break this cycle of violence. So one of the first things that she did when she reached out is we need to hire some community health workers, but not like the other community health workers that focus on diabetes or on homelessness or in the NICU. So this is going to be a very special type of community health worker, and we're going to call them the VIPs. The violence intervention professionals. So that's how we got started. And then inspired by Father Boyle's tattoo removal program at Homeboy Industries, she said, well, we need to do that here at Loma Linda. And we originally funded it out of community benefits, and now with this CalVIP grant, a state grant, it's continued.
So J.C. Belliard is director of our Institute for Community Partnerships, and one of the main links that Loma Linda has with the community. And we often think of Loma Linda as that building over there and all the things happen, but Loma Linda is out there doing an awful lot of stuff in the community as well. So thank you, JC, for leading that effort. Richard, welcome. Why is tattoo removal so important?
Tattoo removal is important because it's something you want to like get rid of. It's a blemish. It's something that you have on you that you made a decision. Maybe you weren't making a conscious decision and you regret it, and you're trying to get that off you, because tattoos are visual, especially if you have like gang tattoos. That's what someone sees, and you don't have a second chance at a first impression. So as soon as someone sees you with the gang tattoo, it like puts people off. It's like, oh, I don't want to be around that person, or you get judged immediately. Especially if you want to make something better of your life, these things are hindrance. They hindrance your progress.
You're tough, but I think I saw you flinch a little bit in that film. Does it hurt?
Well, it doesn't tickle. But you know, it's doable. It's something that has to be done, because I understood, okay, this pain it's temporary, but once these tattoos are gone, they're gone forever.
And did I hear you're doing something different on Monday?
Yes, yes. Thankfully, I was fortunate enough to get hired on to be part of the VIP program right here in Loma Linda.
So what will you do in the VIP program?
Well, I hope to mentor people and, provide guidance and just help out wherever I'm needed, share my story and show people that it can be done. You don't have to stay in these same cycles of violence or gangs or drugs. Like, you can break the cycle. And sometimes you just need to see it. Some people, they don't believe, like, oh, gangs are forever. There's no way out. But once you see someone get out of there, it's like, oh, there's a way out. It's possible. It's like when people thought, the Wright brothers trying to fly an airplane. They're like, oh, those guys are crazy. Now we're flying across, United and all these other airlines. It takes a while, but, we'll get there.
So, Tasha, you got a success story. I suspect you have many less successful stories.
Yes, and I did share some in the video. So reality, right? We're not in La La Land with unicorns and rainbows, right? And reality is that everyone doesn't make it out. So some will die, some will go back to prison or jail, and some are not ready to change. And that's what we have to be prepared for, because we can't do all the work, right? Richard, his mind was set on changing, so he's a success story because he wanted it and he believed in himself. A lot of times why I really want to focus on the youth is because that's during the teen years, adolescent years, when they're developing, right? The self-image can be poor. Constantly, like when I go advocate at the schools, schools are suspending children, expelling them, not getting to the root. Sometimes they're just hungry. That's where the behavior comes from. Sometimes, so me sitting in an IEP meeting or advocating for a 504 or educating our patients, clients, or community members, at my house I'll hold meetings and then share different things how to do, including Stop the Bleed, thanks to Dr. Burris, and the Narcan training here that I received here from Loma Linda. Those simple things, they don't see us as individuals. They don't see our stories, but they do see the behaviors, and that's just the reality. Yeah. So it's an ongoing process, a new chapter in my book, but until the day I die, I'll be continuing to do this.
I caught your phrase in the film, most people are innocent until proven guilty. In your world, they're guilty until proven innocent.
Yes.
That's got to be tough.
It is tough. You drive down the street, and, I try to be as politically correct as possible, but, driving while black or brown, that's a problem. Recently, actually, I got stopped. My fiance and I, we were stopped, and he has tattoos. He is also a success story. He did 18 years in prison as well. And we were driving down the street on a Sunday and going to AutoZone. And we were pulled over by the SMASH unit. He's well familiar with the SMASH unit. And automatically, they're pulling us out and handcuff him immediately. And I'm getting off, and I was like, hold on, like, wait, but we don't really have the liberty to say that. But I don't know, I just have this confidence that I can say some things, Call me crazy, but it works. And just as they're doing that search in the vehicle, I had my business card for the outside consulting violence intervention, and because the violence intervention team, we attend a lot of meetings as a professional understanding with law enforcement. The supervisor that was there in the SMASH unit, 4 officers, he had to stop one rookie who really was very disrespectful, called me a few things, and that's okay because I don't have to answer to that, right? But the whole thing was that he said, hold on, I know you. I said, yes, you do know me. And I said, but what I'll do is I'll contact Captain right now and let him know what's going on because I'm grateful that you stopped us because it could have went sideways. And then immediately he said, release Frank from the handcuffs right now. So that's a daily issue that we deal with, especially with tattoos or someone remembers you. A lot of the officers that are still on the beat, and I'm originally from Los Angeles, so I've taken on San Bernardino as my city. But during the Rampart, if some of you may be familiar with the Rampart scandal, I'm not sure, but my father was part of that. So I learned really early on that I had to learn to advocate. Yeah.
How do you keep your own cup full? Where does your resilience come from? You must watch a lot of people up and down and disappointments and so on. How do you keep stable and going forward?
So I do have a great circle, and I believe in keeping my circle small but solid, right? Even though I see a lot of people and I help a lot of people, Richard is like one of my new rocks, right? We converse quite often. Also, the people that are here today to support me, I know that I can call on them, I can vent. You know, life is not easy, and we have big families, and everybody has needs, right? And then also event planning. I didn't have a childhood, so I lived through decorating for someone else and during their childhood, right, reliving it. So that's what I do. It's hard. Sometimes I have bad days. Everyone does, right? But we got to keep it pushing. I'll get to work here, coming in the office. I could have had a bad day leaving from when, I call him my primo, that's how we are, right? When he was killed, leaving from that, knowing I had to get to work, right? We have to keep it pushing. We don't have the privilege to just curl up and that's it and let go. You know?
I mean, how many, and I don't know who knows this, how many people actually get tattoo removal on a yearly basis here? Do you have any idea?
I don't want to misquote the statistics here, but I grew up going to Homeboy Industries. So that was one of my, a place that I felt safe. Even though your enemies, and I say enemies as a gang member, were there, we had an understanding that that was our safe place. So there I had a few of my gang tattoos removed. So I really, really, really appreciate that it's here now.
And I'm assuming, go ahead,
Loma Linda's done about over 100, I think it's close to 140 tattoo removals in the last couple of years.
And I'm assuming the tattoo removal is purely a symbol of something deeper that's going on. A person who decided to make a change, and now this is part of one of the tools they use to change themselves.
Yes, and like Richard elaborated on, right? When they see us, depending on how I'm dressed, I get treated differently, right? That's our reality, but we still can't change our features or the color of our skin, right? So that's the first move, and everyone's not ready to do that. But also, I just want to say that sometimes learning to read tattoos, or just in the trauma unit, I shared with a lot of the doctors and nurses, read tattoos, because all the time they're not gang related. You know, a lot of times they mean something else, especially in memory of.
I still see some on your arms, Richard. It's basically the visible ones that you needed to get rid of?
Yeah. I had some on my face, my hands. I wanted to get rid of
There's
those.
something on the back of your head.
Oh, yeah. I'm working on that one because I know that's going to sting a lot. Saving some courage for that one.
At least you have hair to grow over it.
So the criteria for the tattoo removal clinic is it has to be a gang-related tattoo, it has to be visible, or it has to be socially offensive, so people can't get jobs. So those are kind of the three things.
So those are the criteria before we'll go after the thing.
So you can't just show up to remove any tattoo.
And it has to be the face,
visible.
Hands, or necks, visible. Yeah.
So new job, Richard, starting on Monday.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Dr. Hart, yeah, I know I was asked to ask for a action call, and I think anyone here in the audience can refer people to this program, and anyone who you think could help break that cycle of violence. But I think also what we've learned from this story, from Richard's story, from Tasha's story, from the Rivas family story, and our condolences for me as well, that I think what we learn is that proximity is so important, because when you have proximity, you can suspend judgment. And I think it's so easy to judge when you don't know somebody or are not close to them. And I think that for a lot of our young people in our community, it's just from luck that they were born, in the wrong zip code, or are in a situation where those choices are very limited. And I think from the Rivas story, what I picked up was that, Shai, you were kind of that fork in the road for Carlos. And I just would encourage, my call to action is that I would encourage all of us to help be that fork in the road for our young people, for people who are looking to make a decision one way or the other. Tasha, you were that influence and that fork in the road also for Richard. So that would just be my appeal for this audience, that we can go out there get close to people who are going through this and be a difference.
I've heard it said, your genetic code is more important than your zip code. And that's really who you are, what's behind all that. So congratulations, Richard, on your new job. Thank you, Tasha, for what you've done and what you continue to do. So.
I want to thank the crew.
Thank you.
Richard and I want to thank Will, Valerie, Benjamin, all of you guys. And I'm trying to remember everyone's name, but you guys were so patient and so with us, and we appreciate that a lot. Thank you guys so much.
I'm going to ask Carl to come forward and introduce the film team. I think you'll all agree with me. These are some incredible films. And the way the story is told and what happens, and these are the folk that do it. They all look young, and they are young, but they got some incredible talents to put this all together. So, Carl, tell us who we got here.
So, yes, this is the Advancement Films team, and this team here represents a lot of, here, we'll come a little bit further in here, a lot of hours of filmmaking, which is not just sitting in front of a computer. It's building relationships with the people that you saw on the screen. It's actually filming with them, and then it's also at the end of it, all of us on this stage have seen these episodes many times as we've reviewed them and tried to get them as good as we can get it so that we can show everyone here. So, to introduce our team, Will Brown, he was the director for Hood Auntie. Valerie Pichot, she was producer for Hood Auntie. Kevin Ekfall, he was director for Keep Moving Forward. And Daniel Wallin, he directed another episode that you didn't get to see, but you can go on PBS and take a look at that. But he also did a lot of the color correction for the entire series. So yes, thank you.
And I know you guys have kind of a Hollywood budget you work off of.
Yes, I mean, we ask for whatever we want and we get it, yeah.
Let's thank this team for the incredible stuff they produce year after year. Please pray with me as we close. Father in heaven, we come here today, hearing stories of sadness, of challenge, but also of victory and success. We ask you to be with Shai and her family. Bless them in the years ahead as they move on from the grief of losing Carlos. Be with Tasha, be with Richard in his new job, and all those they represent who are facing issues in this community, around us, and around the world. Thank you for the opportunity Loma Linda has of participating in this healing process, of bringing people together, letting them fully realize their potential so that they can become part of the functional world around us. Thank you for each one that came today and share the stories, we pray. In your name, amen. Thank you all.